With the story mode of Overwatch finally here, it's time to catch up with the complete Overwatch history, but there is a lot to go through. So we're starting our new lore breakdown series with Genji in the complete history of Genji Shimada. Now we're going to start things off with the Shimada Clan, which was founded centuries ago and rapidly grew in power and influence. You see, they were a criminal organization and they dealt in arms deals, illegal substances, and assassination. That being said, while they were criminals, the Shimada Clan understood that honor and loyalty forged the strongest bond between ruler and ruled. While they always asked much for those who followed them, in return, the Shimada Clan led with integrity and treated the people of Kanizaka with respect. Now, the eventual head of the clan, Shojiro Shimada, Genji and Hanzo's father, reflects the strong honor present even inside this criminal clan with this quote: "This is the lesson. This is what a Shimada does. We take care of our people because they take care of us. When they are hungry, we feed them. When they are hurt, we heal them. And when their city is burning about them, we quench the flames. A leader must be responsible, or else he is nothing more than a parasite." To the outside world, the Shimada clan was evil and criminal, but to the people under their rule that lived in Kanizaka, they were honorable protectors, and they only did what was necessary for the safety of the people and the future of the clan. Now on to Genji and Hanzo, which as children were trained by Asa Yamagi, who is the mother of Kiriko, a girl younger than them that trained alongside them. Through Asa, they learned the way of the sword and other techniques like wall climbing. Now the Shimada clan would transfer leadership via the eldest son, meaning that Genji's older brother Hanzo would be the one responsible to succeed his father, while Genji was much more free to act how he pleased because there was no such responsibility on his shoulders. This caused Hanzo to be much more stoic and serious, while Genji was far more carefree, often playing around at the arcade and relaxing in his freedom. Now, this piece suddenly changed when Sojiro was assassinated by the rival clan, the Hashimoto clan. All of a sudden, Hanzo was thrust into leadership, and emotionally distraught, the elders manipulated him to get Genji back in line. They always resented Sojiro's allowance of Genji's carefree nature and used his death as a wicked opportunity to reform Genji by force. Now, during a heated dispute, Genji refused to live how Hanzo or the elders wanted him to. And during a really chaotic fight, Hanzo killed Genji. Now, this act actually broke Hanzo's heart and drove him to reject his father's legacy completely, and ultimately led him to abandon the clan entirely. And the clan, seeing this as a betrayal, declared Hanzo an enemy, and assassins were sent time and time again to murder the fallen prince. What Hanzo didn't know is that heroes never die, and Genji was actually resurrected, saved on death's door by Dr. Angela Ziegler, also known as Mercy. And the global security force saw that Genji had potential as an asset in the ongoing operations to combat the Shimada clan. And while Genji's injuries left him clinging to life, Overwatch offered to rebuild his body in exchange for his help in dealing with the Shimada clan. He was then put through an extensive process of cyberization, which enhanced his natural speed and agility and augmented his super laxative ninja skills. This transformed Genji into a living weapon, and Genji had the single-minded task to dismantle his family's criminal empire. Now, this brings us to Overwatch and Blackwatch. Overwatch was the international task force. It was a unit that consists of scientists, soldiers, adventurers, and oddities, and was intended to carry out asymmetric warfare against the Omnics. Overwatch was formerly led by Soldier 76 and Reaper, but now, in current time, is led by Winston. Now, Blackwatch was Overwatch's covert ops team. Blackwatch's existence was kept a secret from the public, but there were always rumors of Overwatch carrying out Black Ops missions, and this was led by Gabriel Reyes, aka Reaper, before, of course, he turned bad. Now, Genji was assigned to the Blackwatch team. And 8 years before the present day, Genji took part in a mission to Rialto in order to apprehend Talon member Antonia Bartolotti. Now, after the Blackwatch team arrived in Venice, they did find Talon soldiers patrolling the grounds. Once night fell, they infiltrated Antonio's manor, dealing with numerous Talon guards in the process. Once they got to Antonio's office, however, he expected them to be there, and he was not intimidated, pointing out that Overwatch could not abduct a quote-unquote respected businessman, and it would be a huge public relations nightmare. Furthermore, he proclaimed and bragged that his friends would have him released in a week, and after some thought, Reyes said, "You're right," and shot him right in the face. Damn, Reaper doing a Punisher impression. Now, this set off an alarm and the entire team started to retreat, although while they were retreating, Genji voiced his support for Rei's action, stating that the commander had found an expedite solution, although he did notice that Cassidy was uneasy about what had occurred. Well, Genji pointed out to Cassidy that they've killed before and this is nothing new. Cassidy stated that what happened here was simply an execution, and Genji responded with, "Dead is dead." Damn, Genji's savage too. But Genji reiterated that he had no sympathy for Talon. Now, Blackwatch got revealed through this and caused massive political fallout, and Genji and several others were temporarily suspended from active Blackwatch missions. Now, Genji still trained alongside the Overwatch program, and a year later, Genji would train a new cadet, Lena Oxton, who is also known as Tracer, and is one of the few people that Genji thought could keep up with him during their duels or spars. Now, a year after that, we have Storm Rising, and this is 6 years before the present day. Under the command of Sojourn, Genji took part in an operation in Havana consisting of himself, Mercy, Winston, and Tracer. Now, their objective was to apprehend Maximilian, who was traveling through the city in an armored convoy. The Overwatch team engaged, and Genji disabled Maximilian's vehicles and chased him on foot, finally able to catch him and put a sword to his neck, threatening him. Damn, Genji was just straight ruthless back then. Now, in exchange for leniency, Maximilian agreed to arrange a meeting with Doomfist, informing them that Talon's leader would be in Singapore in 3 weeks. Now, 3 weeks later, alongside Tracer and Winston, Genji directly confronted Doomfist in Singapore. He initially attacked Doomfist with shurikens, but that man just deflected them with his gauntlet and utilized his powerful abilities to keep them at bay. What proceeded was an all-out fight between Tracer, Genji, and Winston against Doomfist that the trio was losing quite badly. After a hard-fought battle and Doomfist incapacitating both Tracer and Genji, Winston finally beat Doomfist and the Talon leader was arrested. Afterwards, Genji talked directly to Doomfist, stating, "Doomfist, you are a worthy foe." Doomfist responded, stating, "If we fight again, I can't promise you'll walk away this time." And Genji responded, "Nor can I." Now, I'm gonna be honest here, that's some egotistical talk for someone that nearly got 1v3'd, but who am I to say? Now, after the arrest of Doomfist, he had a conversation directly with Gabriel Reyes about the failures of the systems and even of Overwatch, stating that no one has fixed this broken system at all. Now, these thoughts would eventually jade Reyes' ideals, and a huge argument broke out between Morrison and Reyes, Soldier and Reaper, and they find themselves at odds at their Overwatch headquarters in Switzerland, which ended in an explosion, both of which were assumed dead. Now, similar to Genji, Reyes was not dead. He was saved by Talon's Dr. O'Durain, who was Moira, and this would mark the inevitable shift in his loyalties to Overwatch. Now, after these events, the UN signed the Petrus Act, outlawing any further activity by Overwatch, as any other action would be deemed illegal. Overwatch disbanded. And even though Morrison also ended up surviving, Morrison began a vigilante crusade under the name of Soldier 76. And through a life-altering procedure, Talon saved Reyes, although constantly in pain and disconnected from his body, he is now Reaper. Now, with Overwatch falling from grace, Genji felt increasingly at war with himself. For the second time in his life, he abandoned his former life and wandered around the world in search of meaning. Genji sought healing for many of his wounds that he suffered, beginning with the traumatic duel he fought with his brother, through his morally questionable missions in Blackwatch, and the inevitable fall of Overwatch. He drifted around for many years before crossing paths with the Omnic monk Zenyatta. And although Genji initially rejected Zenyatta's wisdom, a la Doctor Strange, the benevolent Omnic would not be deterred. And in time, Zenyatta became his mentor, and under the monk's tutelage, Genji reconciled his dual existence as both man and machine. He then learned to accept that although he had a cyborg body, his human soul was still intact, and through Zenyatta, Genji came to see his trials in cybernetic form as both a gift and a unique strength. For the first time in his life, Genji was truly free. He had no idea where his path would inevitably lead him. Now, on the 10th anniversary of Genji's supposed death, Hanzo broke into the Shimada castle and took down the guards before they could alert everyone, because in the main room, he would honor the sword displayed of his brother, offering and praying to his deceased brother, as he'd done every single year. Now, this time was different because Genji tracked him down before he even set foot in the castle and revealed his presence to Hanzo, which immediately Hanzo thought he was an assassin out for his blood. They sparred, and in an epic confrontation, Hanzo revealed the ability for him to control the Dragon Strike and defeated Hanzo with the Shimada Clan's techniques. Hanzo was incredibly confused by this because no one should be capable of doing what just defeated him. While Hanzo, who has always been looking for death, told him to end it, Genji refused, declaring he still had a purpose in life. Finally revealing himself to Hanzo, his brother was very much alive. He told Hanzo that he'd forgiven him, and now it's up to Hanzo to forgive himself. He also warns Hanzo that the world is changing, and soon it will be time to pick a side, and he still has faith that his brother will pick the right one. Now, in a huge confrontation years later, Winston decided that the world needed Overwatch again, and even though it's still outlawed, pressed the recall button, reinitiating Overwatch and calling forth all members. Now, sometime after Winston's call, a huge fight between the Null Sector forces and Winston was really dire, but Genji arrived out of nowhere, aiding Tracer, Winston, and Mei, and repelled the Null Sector's force. And through the help of Genji and many others, including Ryan, Brig, Mercy, and Echo, they forced a retreat from the terrorist organization. Afterwards, Winston proclaims that Overwatch is back, and Genji rejoined Overwatch. Genji comes from a haunted past, but has learned to accept who he is and his place in the world, and now we'll look for the future to make it a better place. Now, this does leave us with many questions. Will Hanzo come into the fold and join forces with his brother? Will Genji get a rematch with Doomfist and come out victorious alone this time now that he has achieved tranquility? Are Mercy and Genji gonna become official? Okay, alright. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the lore video. Smash the like, subscribe, and let me know what hero you want me to cover the lore of next. Thank you for coming by, and I'll see you next time.